Hello, we are doing a craft project today, and this is for the couple students that missed when we did our paper bag platypuses, our platypus puppet from Australia. So we're making a version of this puppet today with a platypus tail, platypus beak, and some feet. So for this, we will want a brown paper bag, and you should have all this in your craft bag. Some orange, or there are other colors if you don't want to do orange, but that's what I did. A color that you're going to do your beak, your tail, and your feet. They do not need to all be the same color. That's just how I did mine. We're going to want some white paper to do the eyes. I just used a marker to make the pupils of the eyes. You're going to want a pencil to trace out the shapes that you want, scissors to cut them out, and glue to glue them together. So we've got paper bag, paper, marker, pencil, glue, and scissors. Okay, let's get started. This is the way that I did it. That doesn't mean you need to do it the same way. So you can look at what I'm doing and decide for yourself if that's how you want to do it. So for me, I used this piece of paper that I wanted to do the bill, and I stuck it underneath this little flap so that I could use my pencil and trace how big. I'm going to attach the bill to this right here. I wanted to trace how big I want it. So I'm looking at the paper bag here. I made mine a little on the bigger side. You can do yours however you want, but then I can use the edges of this to know where I'm going to start. And then I'm going to make mine kind of a U shape and go to that edge there. And that gives me an idea of what shape it's going to be. So for mine, and we ended up in class, I wasn't sure if we have time or if people would want to, but I did end up doing a bottom one that I put underneath that flap. You can see I tried to glue it to that and changed my mind. So if you want, you have a few options. So now I have my bill that I've traced. You can cut that out and then trace another one so that you have a second one. Or if you wanted to, you could fold your paper, but you're going to want to keep in mind that you're going to want paper for your tail and for your feet. So you want to see if you have enough paper for all those things. I think I do. I'm going to make a smaller tail. So I'm going to fold mine in half. I'm not sure if you all have 2 pages of the orange or just one, or again, you could do different colors. Your tail doesn't have to be at the same time, same color as your beak. So I'm going to cut mine out, following closely, kind of, the line I marked there. Now I have 2. So I'm ready to glue them on to my paper bag. So I mentioned that when I first did it, I glued one to the bottom and then changed my mind. So here is how I am going to do this. You do this how you want to. I am going to glue one onto the bottom here. So I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to put a line of glue. This is a little harder to do when I'm not on the table. I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to glue this one up under that flap. And then I'm going to take this one and glue it on top of that flap. And get them lined up there about. And I want to leave room up here for my eyes that I'm going to do later. Just as an example, the one I did first. Okay, so now I have my bill here, and I'm happy with that. So next, I'm going to do my tail. So this is our front, so we want to put our tail on the back here. So this, I'm just going to take this piece of paper. I'm going to figure out about how big I want it. Mine's going to be a little on the, well, smaller than my first one because just of how I cut my bill out. So I'm just going to look at that. I might take my pencil again, except for that I buried it. All right, I'm going to take a pencil and I'm just going to draw a line for myself right here to give myself an idea of how big I wanted that. Oh, you can't, that's hard to see. I just drew a line there. That's gonna, I can use that as a guide. So now I'm gonna cut out my tail. And then I'm gonna flip it over. I have kind of lines, pencil marks on here. I'm gonna flip that over so that side's not showing. And then I'm gonna glue top of that. And I'm gonna put it on the back. There, my platypus has a tail. So now I can stick my hand in here. The bill. Oh, I'm going to bend that a little bit so that it flops down. Here we go. I've got a bill, I've got a tail. Now we want to do our feet. So I kept my feet super simple. I did just kind of half circles. I put a little indent there. So you can do blobby feet. You could do kind of webbed feet, you know, however you want. I'm going to cut out 4 circles. Actually, I'm going to do more. I'm going to do this kind of shape, like a kind of a long D shape or a tongue. I don't know what you want to think of that as. I'm going to do 4 of those. And I'm going to call that my feet. If you wanted to, I saw a mom did this with one of the students in class and did like little feet shaped like that, something like that. Actually, I think hers looked a little more webbed. You can do your feet how you want to, but I'm going to keep it pretty simple. Let's see if I can get one more out of my scraps. I'm going to do this all in one piece of paper, but I'm going to use most of it. Okay, I got my 4 feet. Now I had them on the bottom so that when it's like that, it looks like it can walk. So if you see the crease of your paper bag, I glued it to the side that would be the stomach. So on the crease, oh, I lost one. I'm going to take my foot and I'm going to look at where I want to glue it. I'm going to put one here and one at the bottom. So about there. I'll let it stick out a little bit more. And then I'm going to glue that. If this video is too fast for you, it's nice because it's a video and you can just pause it and get caught up. Okay, so there's one of my feet. Yeah, like that. Put my other one in about the same spot on the other side. Got 2 feet, and again, that's on the bottom side. You see how I glued that to this part of the flap that is closest to the stomach. I've got my 2 more, and then I'm done with my feet. And then all we need to do is the eyes, and then I put little nose slits on the beak as well. Okay, there, I put my bottom feet on there. And I could do these ones to match this if I wanted to. Okay, so next we're on to eyes. So the eyes, I just did 2 white circles. Some white paper. So the only trick to that is figuring out how big you want your eyes to be. So you could play with that. I would suggest maybe starting out a little bigger, because you can always cut that smaller if you want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one to see the size that I want it. Well, that's very big. I might make that one a little smaller. And then I'm going to use this first one to trace the second one so that they're close to the same size. Oh, there you go. Okay, I'm happier with that size. You can make yours. You can make giant silly eyes or bitty little eyes. So I'm using the first one. I said I was tracing, but I'm just cutting. Just as a basic guide, because I don't care if they're exactly the same. I just want them to be kind of the same size. You could do, that might be fun to do one big eye and one little eye. Okay, so I've got my 2 eyes here. And I'm going to glue those on. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Because if you use marker on paper that's soggy with glue, it doesn't work as well. So I am going to put my pupils on before I glue it on. So for my pupils, this is how I like to do them, and that is again totally up to you. I like to leave a little white spot in the center, but you can just color yours all in black if you want. Oh, that's hard to do without looking. Okay, so there I've got a pupil. I'm going to color that in a little bit more. I'm going to leave just a little white spot. And that is because usually there's light that shines. You can see in my pupil, there's a light from this lamp. So it's like a spot of light on your eyeball. It's not because we have white inside of our pupils. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, now that I've got the pupils on there, I'm going to glue my eyes on. There's one, put it right about there. I also realized I didn't get my pupils quite in the center, and that is fine. He's going to be a little like looking different directions. Oh, I see. We'll have him looking off that way a little bit. All right, and the very last step that I did to mine was I put these 2 little nose holes in the platypus because I thought it looked just a little more finished that way. Little bigger. There we go. And there is my platypus. The platypus puppet. I don't know if you caught it earlier. I liked this to separate a little bit so you can tell there's 2 feet. So I just folded it down a tiny bit there. When he talks, his beak moves. So now it hangs down a bit. I might actually take a pencil and trace where it hangs down to and cut that off. Or you can just leave it how it was. There. All right, that is our paper bag platypus. I will see you later. Thank you.